As the world starts to recognize and act upon the need for tighter environmental controls, the transportation of gas, water and sewage has not only become more hazardous, but highly specialized. In order to aid our worldwide operatives, we have commissioned this training video to be used in conjunction with the written guide. Together, their purpose is to enable all operatives to achieve 6 simple basic aims. To understand the principles of polyethylene butt fusion jointing, to be able to identify pipe and appropriate fitting markings, to be able to correctly and confidently sight the equipment, to carry out pre-jointing machine and equipment checks, to make satisfactory butt fusion joints across a range of pipe sizes, and to inspect and identify acceptable quality joints, including debeading. In particular, take some time to look at the do's and don'ts sections in our printed guide, and don't forget to study the safety note. The equipment that you require is also comprehensively listed. Operating conditions and clean surfaces are extremely important, and the relatively small amount of time you take to prepare for your fusion jointing will be well rewarded later. As you will see in section 1 of our guide, the principles are very straightforward. The pipes to be joined are simply held in clamps which grip and re-round the pipe. Before commencing, you should always check that both pipes to be joined are of the same size, wall thickness and material. Only compatible sizes, SDR and PN ratings and materials, should be joined together. Check the pipes for information. It's usually sighted along the length at 1 meter interval. The butt fusion machine should be placed on a suitable clean, dry baseboard or ground sheet. To facilitate filming, no shelter was used. Finally, it is recommended to double-check the following pre-joint checks as outlined in section 1 of our guide. They'll save you time and effort. For example, use only equipment that's been regularly serviced and is in good condition. Ensure the correct jointing parameters for the machine and pipes being welded are known and understood. Check that the heater plate is clean. Wash it only when it's cold with clean water and dry with a clean, lint-free cloth or paper towel. Check that the trimmer is clean and that the blades are not damaged and are in good condition. Check that the liners are clean and that they sit fully within the pipe clamps, and make sure they are correctly aligned. Check that the heater plate is at the correct operating temperature. Check that the correct parameters are selected for the pipes to be joined. Check that the pipe is cut square. After checking the fuel level in the generator, we can move on to making the joint, and this is how we recommend that you do it. You can follow this simple operation in section 5 of the guide. Make sure that all the plugs and sockets are clean, dry and free from moisture before connecting. Then connect the heater, chassis and trimmer cables to the computer like this. Connect hydraulic connectors like this. If difficulties are experienced when connecting hydraulic connections, turn on power and press reset. This will vent the system, enabling the hydraulic connections to be connected. Start the generator, and then connect the computer to the generator. Check that the correct plug is connected for the required voltage, 110 volts or 220 volts. At this point, the display will request the entry of both the operator number and the job number for traceability purposes. Follow on-screen prompts. Select the pipe size and type to be joined. Press tick button to confirm the data. At this point, we move on to the pipe preparation. This is in 9 stages and is equally simple to follow. Open chassis to its fully open position, then load the trimmer onto the chassis. Place the pipe to be joined on rollers to reduce drag. Cover the pipe ends to prevent draft. Should there be an emergency, press the red stop reset button. This will immediately stop all cycles and set the machine safe and return to the start of the cycle. Clean the pipe ends inside and out, then load and position the pipes lightly against the trimmer discs. A 2 to 3 mm gap is acceptable between the pipe ends and discs. A good working practice is to keep pipe markings to the top when loading up the chassis. Ensure that the shortest length is in the moving clamp. Fit the top clamps and tighten. Press the tick button on the controller. Trimming will continue up to its program stop, or as soon as continuous swarf strip of full pipe thickness is visible on both sides. The trimmer may be stopped by pressing the tick button again. The machine automatically enters into the feathering off cycle. When the trimming cycle is completed and the machine has opened, remove both the trimmer and the swarf, remembering to remove trimmer carefully to avoid damaging the pipe end. Be careful not to touch the pipe ends, and don't pull the swarf up through the trimmed pipe ends, as this may contaminate the pipe faces. Swarf inside the pipe must be removed carefully without touching the trimmed faces. Visually check the pipe ends for completeness of trimming. Press the tick button to carry out the check cycle. Then visually check the pipe alignment, adjusting the clamps if required. Tolerance for misalignment is 10% of pipe wall thickness. Check for gaps around the full circumference of the pipe. The tolerance is 0.25 mm. Then recheck and retrim if necessary. The next stage is making the weld described in the guide. Secure the heater onto the welding machine chassis. Press the tick button on the controller. This checks the heater temperature, which is permanently shown in the top right-hand corner of the display. Insert the heater into the chassis. Push it home until it's fully locked. Press the tick button again. The fusion cycle will be carried on automatically. The display will give relevant information at all times. There are 4 stages to the joint sequence. First stage, formation of the initial bead, which is measured by the LVDT, linear variable differential transformer. The second sequence is known as the soak time, which is time allowed for the transferring of heat from the heater plate to the pipe. The third sequence is the dwell time, where the machine opens, heater ejects, and the pipe comes back together within seconds. The final stage is the cooling time, which allows the joint to cool and stabilize under pressure in the machine. When the controller display shows joint complete, press the tick button and follow the display prompts. You must allow the pipe to cool for the full cooling time before you remove the pipe from the chassis. you must allow pipe to cool properly before installation. Whilst you are waiting, it's worthwhile making the following quality checks. You can follow this simple operation in section 6 of our guide. Use the bead gauge so that the bead width conforms to specification. Check visually for excessive irregularities in bead formation and pipe mismatch. Unclamp the pipe and remove carefully. Once cool, you can externally debead the weld. Visually check the underside of the removed bead for contamination. Then bend it back at several positions and inspect for slit defects. Then check for cleanliness around the joint area. Next, where appropriate, internally debead the joint. Finally, printing out the data from the controller allows you to check the result and verify the details for correct compliance. Alternatively, fast data transfer can be used where data can be instantly analyzed on site and stored for further analysis.